Welcome back to Primetime Local News. In studio with me, Josh Park. He's not going to be here at the end of the summer, so we had to get a Josh and Josh segment in before the year was done. So pleasure to have you in studio. Very excited to talk sports with you as we do in the office all the time. Let's go right to the main topic of discussion, which is Marcus Stroman leaving the Jays. Do you like what they got back for him, first of all?
First of all, when you make a trade like this, especially when you're distributing one of your top pitchers, I was watching a video this morning and they were saying that when you're getting prospects in return in this sort of deal, especially with pitchers, it's something that you're going to have to let pan out, and you're not going to know right off the bat if you're going to get a good deal in return, right? Because a lot of these guys have never pitched in the MLB before. You're getting prospects back in return. It's not like another type of deal where you're going to have players that you can plug right into your lineup right off the bat. So this is something the Blue Jays aren't really going to know for a while until this is a deal that they got something they liked in return. But off the bat, I've heard some speculation that it isn't exactly the return they wanted right off the hop, especially because they dealt him to a team that wasn't necessarily a contender, right? The Mets coming into this they're 50-55. They're 6 games back of the wild card spot. So you almost think that if they would have sent him to a team that was more of a contender, maybe the Yankees, maybe the Astros, maybe they could have got a better deal in return. But we'll have to see what happens with these prospects. And
that's obviously disappointing then when you consider the legacy of the player that he was. You know, one of the last guys that was a high-profile member, of course, of that 2015-2016 run where they were, you know, a game or two away from making it to the World Series. And while he was controversial to some because of how opinionated he was on social media, how many mini feuds he had with management, here's still a guy who embraced Toronto. And they always talk about that, you know, a guy like DeRozan, a guy like Lowry, who aren't from Canada but end up loving the city. You see them at Leafs games. And that's what you want when you bring guys in. So a lot of people will be unhappy to see him go.
Well, they say there's 2 traits that you get with Marcus Stroman. One, he's a big game pitcher. Obviously, we've seen that wild card game against the Orioles, those 2 huge starts in the ALDS against the Texas Rangers, especially even going back to his time, not even the MLB, but at the World Baseball Classic when he started for Team USA, right? He had a couple of huge starts for them, including that final game when he went 6 hitless innings. He was the tournament MVP. So you're getting a big game pitcher in him, but you're also getting a big personality. There was some speculation yesterday after the big trade that there was actually a bit of a commotion in the Blue Jays locker room when Stroman actually found out that he got traded to the Mets, because apparently him and his party were hoping that he was going to go to a contender. So there's 2 things you're going to get out of Marcus Stroman. One, you're going to get a huge big game pitcher, but you're also going to get a big personality.
Big personality indeed. And a league that is full of big personalities is the National Football League. What's the biggest story for you heading into camp? I know for many people it's been the Browns, but there's plenty of other stories, whether it's can the Patriots do it again? How are the Steelers going to rebound this year? Many new quarterbacks in new situations. Is it the Browns or is it something else?
You actually already touched on it. I hate to go right to it because you already mentioned it, but it's the Cleveland Browns coming into this season. You have Baker Mayfield, your starting quarterback. His sample size in the NFL isn't huge so far. What we've seen out of him, people are starting to love it, but they've plugged a few crucial pieces into that offense. Obviously now your receiving core is dynamite. You got Jarvis Landry and arguably one of the best in the league in Odell Beckham Jr. So that's an offense, if it can really mix and it can really sort of get the ball rolling, it's going to be dynamite. But with that Cleveland Browns team, it's really a matter of waiting and seeing if they can actually produce on the field.
And that, of course, will be a tough blow for Browns fans if they can't get the job done, because remember, this team has won only a handful of games in recent years, and there are few sport franchises in history that have suffered more than the Cleveland Browns fan base.